Greetings and welcome to Connecting with Intent Show. I'm your host Muhammad Wes. On this episode, we have a very amazing personality. He is the Senior Vice President at Association of National Advertisers, Greg Wright. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Greg Wright. Greg, welcome.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you for having me.
Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Yeah, yeah, that's a fantastic question to kick us off. It's interesting. After I graduated from university, I started working in politics, and I worked at the Michigan House of Representatives, and it was there that I really got exposed to a lot of different ideas, as well as ways to approach a problem. And the representative, the political person that I worked for at the time, had a very strong kind of moral viewpoints and would often vote that way. And because of my kind of exposure working with him, that helped me understand how others look at problems, how others view the world and from their perspective. And that really led me down this road of, well, how do we ensure that folks are always looking at things through the right lens? If they're looking at things ethically, they're making sure that they're doing things for the betterment of other folks. And so that really led me into the world of advertising and further deepening my understanding of how people use language, view language, and how that impacts, their propensity to buy something or how they feel about a particular brand or story. And so all of that, those words and that imagery come together. And that's where I found my passion was at the Michigan House of Representatives, and really inspired me to kind of use my knowledge within marketing and communications to really influence the society for the better.
Thank you for sharing your story. What is your higher purpose in life?
Well, I think it's just that it's to serve the society in a way to make it better. I'm a strong believer that what we have now is great, but it can be better. And I really think that I see the path forward for a lot of problems, a lot of challenges, and whether they're major societal problems or they're just individual issues. I for whatever reason I can see clarity in the solution, and I want to be able to use those powers and that strength to really help others identify what their solutions are for their challenges and help them be better so that they can in turn help create a better society for all of us.
That's a powerful purpose. What have been top three greatest challenges that you have had to overcome?
Oh, that is a great question and a tough one. I would say, one of the biggest challenges I've had to face in overcoming is perfectionism. This idea that, I think a lot of us grow up, we're trained and we go through school and all these things. We got to be perfect. We got to get the right grades and we got to get into the next class level and all these things. And it really drives us toward this concept of perfectionism. The problem is that perfectionism doesn't exist. You can't be perfect at anything. It's just not possible, right? There's always going to be some small flaw or some problem. And so my whole challenge was, well, I don't need to do things to be perfect. They need to be perfect for me. I need to find out and identify what that is, right, for myself. But ultimately, nothing can be perfect. So it's kind of overcoming that barrier of like, what is perfectionism and how do I get past it? But then also, I think another, a big challenge that I've had to encounter is neurodivergency. I'm a neurodivergent individual, meaning I have, my brain functions in a slightly different way than other folks. So I'm able to see things that might be slightly different than others. And so because of that, it can be harder to, whether it's communicating with folks, trying to relay my ideas or what have you. Like, it can be harder to have those conversations and to ensure that folks on the other side are understanding what I'm saying and are able to kind of get past maybe some of those difficulties in the conversation or interactions that might come with someone who is neurodiverse. And then I think that was two challenges. So I've kind of overcome both of them in the same way, and just being more mindful, practicing meditation, being more mindful in that regard, understanding myself more, understanding what I can bring to the table and what my superpowers are, versus kind of just saying, well, I'm bad at this and holding on to that. Like that just continues that negative emotion, that negative feeling. So if you put yourself in a positive, say, look, I'm really great at writing, and that's my excellent point. I'm perfect at doing that, or try to be perfect at doing that. I'm going to lean into that more, and really focus on that. So by doing that, I was able to overcome kind of these ideas of perfectionism and the limitations sometimes that neurodiversity can put on oneself. I think because of those two things, I'm also very introverted. I kind of have a very extroverted, especially when I'm doing podcasts and stuff, I can be animated and be very extroverted. But when I'm not, when I'm by myself, or if I have the free choice, I often will be very introverted. And that could be a challenge, especially if for somebody like me who wants to kind of relay messages and get folks to understand things more. And so it's a continuing process to overcome that introvertedness and be comfortable, in a world that we currently live in.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
Ooh, I think my biggest failure, I've had a few failures, certainly learned a lot from all of them. I would say my greatest failure story, though, was in the early 2000s. I had come up with this concept for an app, for your phone, centered around your dining experience, going out to a restaurant, having a server come to you and serve you food. And it was all around rating that experience, grading that experience with your server, and so forth. And I said, I'm going to do this. I jumped in. I was doing it all by myself. I jumped in. I taught myself how to program. I taught myself all these different things. And when push came to shove, like was ready to put the app out there, I got it out there. I got it uploaded onto the App Store, got it all approved, and then nothing, right? Nobody downloaded it. Nobody looked at it, nothing. And I realized that when you're working on a project, whether it's an app or a play or whatever you're doing, you need collaborative partners. You need folks to work together with you, not just to support you and the project, but to support you emotionally, and to make sure that you're looking at everything you possibly need to, right? You as an individual can't know everything. So you need others to kind of bounce ideas off of and provide their insights and input. And so when I went to launch this app, the entire thing, I just relied on myself. I didn't have any engineers helping me. I didn't have any really great marketers helping me. And I think if I did, like that would have helped to promote the app more. It would have gotten out there into, the industry a bit more. Maybe if I partnered with a restaurant or something along those lines. So there were a lot of opportunities there for me to do something other than just do it by myself. And I think because of who I am and my skills and stuff, I'm so used to doing things by myself that it can be a challenge to kind of like, let's bring other people into it, because ultimately they're going to be your supporters and help promote whatever the final product is.
What is the most impactful book you have read and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, I think there's so many. I love to read, and I'm like literally, as you can see, a bookcase behind me and staring at another one in front of me. I would say, the most impactful book that I read recently was actually from Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's his latest book he called "Be Useful," and it's a really insightful memoir, really into his life, and how he grew up, and how he got to where he is today. And we all say, like, obviously it takes skill and talent, but sometimes luck is a big part of it as well. But it really kind of looks through his philosophy on life and his successes and how he's given back. And the whole purpose of the book is really to focus you on finding what is your passion, right? And what you enjoy doing, and then taking that passion and making it so that you're working hard towards achieving that goal. You're putting in your best effort, and you're using your talents to make the world better. And I think that's the key thing here for me, at least, was how do we make the world better? And Arnold's got a very great viewpoint of being useful to help promote betterment in the world and society as a whole. And so I really found his book be useful, to be really inspirational, going into this year.
What are your goals for the next 12 months?
Yeah, so I'm actually currently in a doctoral program working on getting my doctorate in business administration. So my goal is to stay up to date on school in that regard. I've got to start working on my doctoral thesis. And so that's really a big goal of mine. But my other big goal right now is continuing. I've got my website, gregwright.org, and two new projects I'm working on. One is called Anoia Bloom, and it's all about this concept of beautiful thinking, this beautiful ethical thinking. It really stems from ancient Greek philosophy, but it's this idea that you have ideas and you can move them forward, and you can inspire others, and you can create a better society and world by using that thinking and that intellectual curiosity.
What advice you will give to younger yourself?
Oof, oh man. I guess I would tell my younger self to embrace my authentic self. Eh, be comfortable with who I am. Don't worry about what other people think. Don't worry about, conforming to the masses or society. Be comfortable with your authentic self, and not to be afraid to take risks, because that's where opportunity lies.
That's a great advice. How can we support you?
Yeah, so I would, you can visit my website, gregwright.org. It's a great way to connect with me. You have links there to my social media accounts as well. But you can find me on Blue Sky at GJW1801 or gregwright.org. Again, it's a great opportunity to keep up to date with what I've got going on and some of my new projects.
What would you say about your guest appearance on the show?
It's been fantastic. I think it's one of the best organized podcasts I've been on in a long time. So I really appreciate you having me on the show. It's been a really great conversation. I thought the questions were really insightful. So I appreciate you creating such a welcoming and supportive atmosphere.
Thank you so much for your kind words. What closing thoughts would you like to share with our listeners?
I would say, in closing, I would say, I think, never underestimate the power of your own thoughts and actions to create the positive change that you want, whether that's for you personally or for the world. If you put it out there, you can, it sounds silly sometimes, but you can manifest what it is that you want. It is possible to, achieve greatness yourself. We are all capable of doing that as humans. And I think if you want to do it on a grander scale, you can. You have to get out of your own way, get through all the hurdles and the barriers that the world is going to put in front of you, and figure out how to use your unique strengths and passions to make the world better.
Thank you so much, Greg, for sharing your wisdom with us today. On the behalf of Connecting with the Intent Community and our entire team, we really appreciate you. This is Muhammad Wes. Until the next episode, all good wishes.
Awesome. Thank you.